a whooping $3.3 trillion to our nation's $35 trillion debt. So much for Republicans being the party of fiscal responsibility. They're also gutting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, an agency that returned $21 billion to families cheated by mega banks. They're cutting housing funds during an affordability crisis and weakening oversight of Wall Street. Maybe they're forgotten that the people elected them, not Trump or the billionaire class. And Mr. Speaker and members, it'll be a cold day in hell before we let Republicans get away with this. I yield back.
Gentleman from North Carolina.
I reserve, Mr. Speaker.
Gentlewoman reserved. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
If I can inquire of the gentlelady, if she doesn't have many speakers, maybe she can lend us some time because we have a ton.
Nice try, Mr. McGovern.
In Congress, we can measure how much people really believe in their position by whether they're willing to come and join their leaders on the House floor. Well, I count 4 members on the Republican side, and we've got over 75 over here. You know, but if I were them, I wouldn't want to be associated with this bill either. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to urge we defeat the previous question, and if we do, I'll offer an amendment to the rule to consider amendment number 156, offered by Leader Jeffries, which strikes all provisions that would cause millions of Americans to lose health care and food assistance. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to insert the text of my amendment into the record along with any extraneous material immediately prior to the vote on the previous question.
Without objection.
And Mr. Speaker, to discuss our proposal, I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from New York, Mr. Ocasio-Cortez.
Gentlewoman is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, and I thank the chairman. You know, President Trump had issued some statements throughout this process saying and urging, insisting that this bill does not cut Medicaid. He's also said some things, you know, he says he doesn't think I'm too much of a smart person. And I'll tell you one thing. It doesn't take a smart person to know if you're being lied to. All right. President Trump, you're either being lied to or you are lying to the American people. Because this bill represents, in the text of this bill, the largest and greatest loss of health care in American history. 17 million Americans will lose their health care on this bill, not undocumented people, not quote unquote the disgusting term illegal, but 17 million Americans will have their health care cut from this bill. On this point of tax on tips, as one of the only people in this body who has lived off of tips, I want to tell you a little bit about the scam of that text, a little bit of the fine print there. The cap on that is $25,000. While you're jacking up taxes on people who make less than $50,000 across the United States, while taking away their SNAP, while taking away their Medicaid, while kicking them off of the ACA and their health care extensions. So if you're at home and you're living off tips, you do the math. Is that worth it to you? Losing all your health care, not able to feed your babies, not being able to put a diaper on their bottom in exchange for what? This bill is a deal with the devil. It explodes our national debt. It militarizes our entire economy, and it strips away health care and basic dignity of the American people. For what? To give Elon Musk a tax break and billionaires the greedy taking of our nation. We cannot stand for it, and we will not support it. You should be ashamed.
Members are reminded not to engage in personalities toward the president, and members are reminded to direct their remarks to the chair. Gentlewoman from North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Nels.
Gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to discuss an important provision in the big, beautiful bill. I was proud to introduce the Endowment Tax Fairness Act, which would tax the endowment profits of private elite universities at 21%, raising an estimated Listen to me, $70 to $100 billion over 10 years. The Senate gutted this provision and reduced it to under $1 billion annually to protect elite universities that take hundreds of millions of dollars annually in federal tax dollars. We were given instructions to generate revenue to pay for President Trump's wonderful priorities. Folks, we're not taxing the endowment itself. Harvard has $53 billion. We're not taxing that. We're just going to tax the net earnings on their investments at 21%, which was equal to the corporate tax rate. And what did the Senate do? They reduced it to 8%, just under 8%. It is about time that we get these universities to pay the same that corporate America pays. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
I yield 1 minute to the gentlewoman from Florida, Ms. Wasserman Schultz.
Gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to oppose this vile Republican plunder of working families, seniors, and veterans, all so the richest Americans can be showered with even more wealth. This billionaire bailout would strip health care coverage from 17 million Americans, nearly 2 million in my state of Florida. It will push millions into crowded, costly emergency rooms and saddle them with medical debt. Trump's big, ugly bill also steals record food assistance from millions of kids, seniors, and veterans. It makes cancer screenings and prenatal care harder to get by defunding Planned Parenthood. It cripples solar and wind projects and kills millions of clean, green manufacturing and construction jobs, all so the rich can get huge tax breaks. And no family is unscathed, because this bill also blows up the national debt by $4 trillion, which drives up interest rates on car loans and mortgages and triggers billions in Medicare cuts, cutting health care for our seniors. This bill makes life less affordable, more painful, and instead of uplifting lives, it will end them. When history looks back on this bill, its legacy will be Trump lied and people died. Vote no. I yield back.
Chair would remind members, once again, not to engage in personalities toward the president. Gentlewoman from North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I reserve.